For our first discussion post, we were asked to make a list. The list had to have a minimum of 3 themes, 3 data items, and a name for each column. Apartments was something that was really on top of my mind because just before the class started, I was apartment hunting. I stayed where I am, but it was something that was really relevant to me at the time. For columns, I went with resident name, bedrooms, renter amount, and cars. Just pretty general things you would want in a renter list. However, during the next class visit, we learned more about the issues with lists. We were asked to correct the issues with our previous list and add a second related list in the form of tables. I corrected the flaws in my first list, which included having both renter names, because it's 2 different sets of data, the first and last name, and I broke those up into 2 different columns. I also added the primary key for renter ID, which we had learned about. It seemed very useful. And I also added the apartment number column for the sake of this project. It wasn't in my discussion post for correcting it, but as I went through it, I saw that apartment number did seem like a pretty necessary thing to have in a viable renters table. Um, my second list slash table was for billing. Um, I used a foreign key, renter ID, kept bedrooms into the next table, added the bill date, which was very relevant to billing and late payments accrued. And again, for this project in particular, going back and seeing some things that needed to be corrected for a functional table, um, I went ahead and replaced the attribute for bedrooms because it seemed duplicative when it was already in the renter table. I added the account ID, which would be way more useful for billing, one spot to see what payments are coming out of where and how the accounts for billing are set up. Um, Please note that the account ID begins with the number of bedrooms, just for simplicity. So if I was um, apartment managing staff, I could look at the account ID and I'd see when the account ID begins with a 1, a 3, or a 2, I'd know that the person would have a 1 bedroom, 3 bedroom, or a 2 bedroom. Um, I also moved the rent amount from the renter table to the payment account table because that's really where it belonged in the first place. Rename the billing table for payment account because the focus on the new table is payment accounts rather than just billing for like accounting purposes, but more so if someone to track payments that would come up, what days they'd happen, and so on.